My name is Hafiz Shivo. I'm the current Vice President in Equality at BetSSU. As part of our LGBTQ plus celebration, I'm delighted to be speaking to Alexandra, who is the University of Bedfordshire LGBTQ plus Network Secretary. So let's get started. So Alex, can you tell me a bit about your story, why you're so passionate about the LGBTQ plus community?
Hello, my name's Alex Baird and I'm a lecturer in sport and PE. And I'm very excited to be secretary of the new staff group, the LGBTQ Alliance. Why am I passionate about this group? Well, I'm part of the group. And there's been times in my life where I haven't been able to be as authentic. And I think having a group that is like me, understands what you're going through, I've found so much strength. It's a little bit different for me now. I'm open to my family, to friends at work, and I'm very fortunate to be married as well. So it's completely different for me now. But even if, I've only been married 5 years, I remember how it is being single. And I think having a group that I could confide in and be myself was just so valuable. I was a member of LGBT Frontrunners. I still am. I'm very proud of it. They were a fantastic group. And when I wasn't able to be as authentic as a teacher in school, I went along there and I mixed with other people just like me. And I found a lot of strength from that. I didn't mean to meet my future wife there. That wasn't my motivation for going, but I was very fortunate to have met my wife, Jen, there as well.
Okay. So as you're like part of the LGBT community, have you ever experienced discrimination?
Yes, unfortunately I have. And being quite a sensitive person, I think you're bound to think of the negatives more than the positives. And actually, if I reflect, I've been overwhelmed by much more positive experiences than negative ones. But yes, I have experienced both covertly, being advised at work, for instance, to be discreet about my sexual orientation. And I think, obviously, people aren't aware of your sexual orientation until you come out. So I've probably heard things in a way that probably people wouldn't have said had they realised my identity as well. And yes, I've dealt with overt messages, sometimes in jest, but have been hurtful at the time. But yes, as I said, actually, as I've come to know myself and be confident in myself, actually the response has been much more positive towards me. And I was overwhelmed by how positive people were when I asked them to come to my wedding. I wasn't prepared for that. Far more outweighed than those that said that they weren't prepared to come. So that's been fantastic.
Okay. So what are your goals for the university LGBTQ plus networks?
So really excited to be part of this group, and I found a lot of strength by talking to people just like me in the staff group. That's been fantastic. I think higher education is fantastic. It gives you lots of opportunities to further your research and get involved in lecturing and things. But I have found it quite isolating at times. You feel quite on your own. And so I think being able to sort of reach out and talk to other people, I found really motivating, really encouraging at this time, particularly now, because we are working so much on our own. The group is about visibility. I think the university is a fantastic place. It's a very supportive place. I haven't felt that I haven't been able to be authentic. I've really enjoyed the experience of moving into higher education. But I don't think LGBT people and issues have been prominent within the university up until now. So I think we want to build that visibility, and we certainly want to make the university a warm and friendly place for people to be themselves. And I think it takes a group like ourselves to ensure that. It is, like I said, it's not just the overt messages, it's the covert things that you can change and make more supportive. And as well as that, I think it's about education as well. So a lot of the events that we're putting on is about education as well. So, drawing on people to become allies and realising what they can do to make the environment more supportive for colleagues as well and students.
I totally agree with you. University is like really safe place if you're being part of the LGBT community. But we're going to talk about what do you think the University of Bedfordshire could do to help improve the lives of LGBTQ plus students?
Well, I think if you want the answer to that question, I think the most honest response is to ask students themselves, and we will be doing that. I think from my experience, I've been at the university for 3.5 years. As I said, it's a close-knit community, particularly the Bedford campus. We know one another very well. I think you can gain a lot of support in that way. But I think as an LGBT person myself, I know that there's been more challenges on my life course than there would have been otherwise. And I think being empathetic to that, I'd like to be someone that a student felt able to come and talk to, if that's who they would want to do. But equally, I think thinking through my life course, seeing people that were very confident in themselves, talking about their own experiences, I found really empowering. So I hope that I can do that for other people as well.
So if you could give LGBTQ plus students one bit of advice, what would it be? I
think when I was younger, I always thought I was being myself. But of course, we learn so much more about ourselves as we get older. We learn so much more. And so now I look back and I think, no, actually, I wasn't always myself. I wasn't complete. I'd never lied and never fabricated, but I wasn't my whole complete self. But, life is a journey and we learn more about ourselves all the way through. I think certainly don't compromise. Be kind to yourself. And I think listen to the people that are really important to you.
Wow, that was some really good advice. And thank you so much, Alex. Really, really appreciated you being here and talking to us, your journey and some advice to the students. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that.
No problem. Thank you for having me.